Good to see you again, old friend. Hello, I'm Alexander Monelli. I'm a documentary filmmaker based in Northeast Pennsylvania, right near Scranton. And today, we say goodbye to an old friend, the Canon C300. Today we are all in black. I've got my JCPenney suit on. I have somewhat of a history with the C300. If you've seen my previous videos, you know I'm a former C100 owner user, former C200 owner user, and now I own the Canon C80, which this is being shot on. I never owned a C300. So there were three of them, the C300, the C300 Mark II, the C300 Mark III. The original one that came out was very expensive, so it was out of reach for me. The original C300 was announced in 2011, and it was such a popular camera. But it, at the time, only had full HD. It wasn't a 4K camera. 4K was still like emerging, but it wasn't the hot thing that everyone was craving, because there's always a hot thing that filmmakers must have. I have probably watched Philip Bloom's...
Hello, my name is Philip Bloom, and welcome to my review of this, the Canon C300.
review of that camera 1,000 times. I still watch it to this day.
Currently, right now, it is 2011. We're almost at 2012. Whilst I'm recording this video, for all I know, you could be in the future watching this video and saying, it's not 2011, it's the year 2025. Why watching this video in 2025? I don't know. But let's get back to the point. The point is, why watching this video in 2025? I don't know.
I have been waiting 14 years to do that joke. That was my doorway into the C300. I would watch that video so much and just go, man, if I could only someday own or use a C300. Someday. So fast forward now, couple years.
The EOS C300 Mark II.
2015, Canon announces the C300 Mark II. I remember going to NAB in 2014 and trying to talk to the Canon reps and just, hound them for information. Is there a new C300? I heard rumors. But it took a full year for it to get announced. And the specs were amazing. It had 4K.
Internal 4K. You asked for it, you got it.
So Canon has officially jumped in. This was their first cinema camera going on to 4K, unless you count the 1DC. The C300 Mark II also introduced 10 stops of internal ND filters. The Mark I only had 6. That's big. To me, if you want to shoot outdoors in harsh sunlight at 1.4, you need 10 stops of ND. It had 444 12-bit in full HD. Not 4K, but 4K had 422 10-bit. So right off the bat, you're like, wow, this is great. Wow. The C300 Mark II also introduced the world to Canon Log 2, C-Log 2, which has become Canon's best and most popular gamma curve and touts the most dynamic range on Canon's cameras. And in 2019, my C300 dream came true. I finally got to use one on my second feature-length documentary, Marionette Land, shot entirely with the Canon C300 Mark II. Marionette Land is a feature-length documentary about the charismatic puppeteer Robert Brock, who lives above his marionette theater with his 80-year-old mother. And Marionette Land is available on Amazon and Tubi and YouTube and a million other places. Please go check it out. But I shot the film entirely in full HD. I did not shoot in 4K. And there's a reason for that. The C300 Mark II never really caught on the way the original one did. I mean, you could blame it on the Sony FS7, which was by far the camera of that era.
They all think they're Federico Fellini. Ever seen any of this shit?
However, the FS7, the colors on that camera were hideous. So what was the reason? Why did the C300 Mark II not catch on the way the original one did? It was, I think, literally one thing. All right, guys, let's get this next shot in 4K 60. The C300 Mark II debuted at $16,000, and it couldn't shoot 4K 60. I will repeat that.
The C300 Mark II debuted at $16,000 and couldn't shoot 4K 60.
What's even crazier is they never added it through a firmware update. They just, Canon. And the fact that Sony had it, and that FS7, literally, I mean, every single shoot I would go on or see, everyone, everywhere had the FS7. It was basically the FX6 of, 10 years ago. The C300 Mark II just kind of faded away. And it would take 5 years for Canon to come back with the C300 Mark III. Now, the C300 Mark III comes out. It's like, all right, here we go. First of all, it debuted at an incredibly lower price. All right, C300 Mark III, what do you got? What do you got? All right, 4K, that's okay. I mean, other camera companies are moving up to 6 and 8K, but 4K is fine. It's still the standard. Broadcast is still not 4K. Everything's fine. 4K is still good. It's still good. We're not going to complain. All right, what do we got? DGO sensor. What is that? Oh, kind of like the Arri Alexa. Takes a readout of the shadows, a readout of the highlights. Dual gain output creates this super high dynamic range image. 16 plus stops in C-Log 2. Wow.
Wow.
4K 60. No. 4K 120.
Wow.
The C300 Mark III had internal RAW.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So here I am looking at this new C300 Mark III. I'm wondering when the Curb Your Enthusiasm music is going to play. What is it lacking? What did they forget? What did they take out? And there was nothing. There was nothing. It seemed perfect. But there was still this nagging feeling. Something I just couldn't shake. For some reason, I just felt like something was wrong. Something was off. There was something different happening. I could feel it. You know that feeling when you go outside and the wind is starting to pick up and the air's a little thick and you can tell that there's going to be a storm. It's coming. The sky is darkening. And then it happened. The craziest thing I've ever seen. On September 24th, 2020, it happened.
This is the new Canon C70.
The C70.
The EOS C70 uses the exact same Super 35mm dual gain output sensor that the EOS C300 Mark III uses.
It actually gets better than that.
In a
Canon
tiny
will also release a
DSLR
special
style.
EF to RF focal reducing adapter
I'm
that
Paul
can take
Hawkers.
full frame capable EF glass
$5,000.
and shrink it
They
down
could do
to the
everything
35 sensor
the
size.
C300 Mark III
This
could
gives
do.
you a full frame field of
And
view
I am excited to
And
introduce
within
the
2
new
years,
lens,
they would add
the EOS
RAW
C70.
internally. They would add a new
In a
autofocus
revelation
system,
of
which is even
engineering
better than what it
ingenuity.
should be. They just kept adding updates and updates and updates. Meanwhile, the C300 just sat there. I've never seen anything like this.
I'm Paul Hawkshurst. Thank you for watching.
They killed it. And here's why the C70 actually killed the C300 Mark III. There's a few reasons, but there's one big one. So I'll give you a comparison to something recent. The C80 was just announced right after the C400. It was very eerily similar to how the C300 Mark III and the C70 were announced. So Canon has now done this twice in a row, where they take this kind of bigger flagship model and then put the same sensor and a bunch of the same features into a much smaller, more affordable camera. But there was a difference this time around. There's a reason the C80 is not cannibalizing or killing the C400 the way the C70 did to the C300 Mark III. There's one key difference, and that key difference is the lens mount. Not only the lens mount, but the fact that Canon invented a speed booster to go on the C70 so you could still use your EF lenses that you would have put on the C300 Mark III, but with a speed booster, you get an extra stop of light and it turned them into full frame. So it was that invention, the EF to RF speed booster, that I think is what killed, officially, finally, the C300. Now, were there things that the C70 lacked that the C300 Mark III had? Of course, right? Better monitor, number one. And more professional I/O. I mean, that's really it, though. The Canon C300 was murdered. I don't know why. This was a wonderful lineup of cameras. Always produced nice images, even with the limitations. But for some reason, Canon, I don't know. It's like they sabotaged the Mark II with a lack of 4K 60, something they never, ever even bothered to add in a firmware update. And they killed the Mark III within a few months. I mean, there's so many YouTube videos of people being like, well, I'm selling my C300 Mark III, going with the C70. The C300 Mark III is a great camera. You can get a used C300 Mark III for like under $4,000. Since I have a C300 Mark II that I rented from Lens Rentals, yes, that's $50, I think. I forget. I will write that off on my taxes, though. Let's get some shots. Let's see. What does the C300 Mark II image look like today? And we'll compare it, I guess, to the C80. We'll see what a 10-year-old Super 35 EF mount camera looks like compared to the brand new Canon C80. So what did you think of the C300 Mark II? Does it hold up 10 years later? Did you prefer it over the C80? You can get a used C300 Mark II for like $1,000.
I heard there was a secret chord.
Let us not forget our friend, the Canon C300. Let us remember the C300 as it was. Ashes to ashes, pixels to pixels.
The baffled king composing hallelujah.
And I want to say one more thing. This is sincere. To hold a C300 in my hand like this is not something I take lightly. There was a time when being able to even make films seemed impossible. Seemed like something that I would never get to do. I always wanted to. I always had the drive and the determination to do it. But there were days, especially after graduating college, after graduating film school, where I worked at a gym and Blockbuster Video at the same time. Both of them were part-time. It would equate to 40 hours a week, but I wasn't getting benefits, and both of them were paying me like $7-something an hour. So I did that for like 2 years. And I remember vividly at the gym that I was working at one time, there was a group of us talking, and there was this slightly older guy. And, I mentioned, I have a film degree. And he kind of went, yeah, real good that's doing you. So to be sitting here talking about a camera I never thought I would ever get to touch, that I got to use and shoot a feature-length documentary I always dreamed about, I always thought about. I watched that Philip Bloom review so many times, saying someday. It's not lost on me. And I guess I'm saying this because I'm sure a lot of people, and I see it in the comments, there's a lot of people who are maybe just starting out, or maybe haven't made their first film yet, or are a little nervous to do something like this, which is, don't be. This is the dumbest thing in the world. So, there you go. All right. C300. Still good. Thank you for being here today. Canon be with you. Hey.
Hey.
Check out my new tombstone I made for my YouTube video. Pretty cool, huh?
Why is there blood on your tombstone? I didn't realize tombstones had blood. Did someone get stabbed by the tombstone? Whose blood is it? Was this your idea? Tombstones don't have blood.